You're fighting battles every single day. You feel the pressure rising like a storm inside your chest. The deadlines, the rejections, the endless noise telling you who you should be, what you should build, who your enemy is. You're exhausted, drained. Sometimes it feels like the entire world is set against you. But what if the fight you're in right now isn't the fight you should be fighting? What if all that energy, all that raw fire you pour into tearing down those enemies around you is just feeding the wrong war? That's a devastating thought, right? Because you believe those enemies threaten your vision, your freedom, your very survival as a founder. But here's the brutal truth. Sometimes your enemies are illusions, disguised by the system to keep you busy, tired, and trapped in a loop of battles that don't actually get you anywhere. Think about it. How much time and energy gets wasted fighting competitors, doubters, haters, and even your own team? How often does the rage and frustration fuel anxiety and burnout more than progress? How many times has that fight distracted you from the thing that really matters? Building something real, something radical, something that breaks the chains and makes your vision impossible to ignore? That tension you feel between your dreams and the world's rules sometimes blurs the enemy lines. It tricks you into fighting shadows while the real threat stays hidden, watching. Here's something every founder needs to realize. The true enemy isn't the competition. It's not the market conditions. It's not some external system or gatekeeper. The real enemy is the illusion of safety. The lie that comfort equals freedom. The chains you don't see because they're made of agreements you didn't choose, to live according to rules that don't serve you, but quietly shape your mind, your actions, your identity. That system, the truth you swallow every day, is hustling you to become predictable, to fit in, to stop burning too bright or standing too far outside the norm. It's the invisible prison where most founders get stuck, confused, convinced they're already free just because they run their own thing. Here's the raw, cold fact. If you don't fiercely reject that illusion, you become a prisoner yourself. You become part of the problem you're trying to break. What if instead of fighting enemies outside, the battle you must win is inside you and the system you carry? What if escaping this trap means redefining what freedom actually means? Raw, ruthless freedom that refuses to bow to any rulebook, that questions every assumption, that tears down the walls you didn't even realize you were behind. This is not a game for people who want comfort. It's a war for the rare, the radical, the few who refuse to live a borrowed life. You're not here to follow maps drawn by others. You're here to create the map itself, even if it means burning bridges, losing friends, and standing alone in the storm. Because only when you stop defending the wrong enemies, only when you abandon the fights that keep you tethered, only then can your fire truly start to reshape reality. Most founders look at the world through the lens of scarcity, fear, and competition, always calculating the cost, always scared that someone else is stealing their dream. But here's a radical thought. This entire framework of enemies is just a cage. The system uses your fear to divide you, to stop you from connecting with other rare minds who burn as fiercely as you do. Those connections are the real fuel, the true power source behind every breakthrough, every paradigm shift. Imagine for a second what happens when you stop wasting time tearing down false enemies and start seeking allies, those who don't just nod politely, but match your fire and challenge your entire worldview. Imagine a network where brilliance isn't diluted by competition, but magnified by connection. Where misaligned brilliance doesn't mean isolation, it means explosive synergy. When you shift from trying to defeat everyone around you to selectively aligning with the few who ignite your potential, your progress becomes unstoppable. But that shift demands brutal honesty. You've got to question everything, even yourself. Which voices in your head are your own? Which resentments are real, which are programmed? Which battles are worth fighting, and which keep you stuck in survival mode? Fighting false enemies is seductive because it feels important, but it's a trap. The real fight is against the subtle forces internalized from the world, a fight to reclaim your sovereignty, to ever so carefully choose what consumes your energy, where your loyalties lie, and who you allow close enough to shape your destiny. Most won't choose this path because it's lonely. It demands burning comfort, shattering identity, and enduring the silence when others don't understand. But those who do, they don't just survive, they change everything. They build new realities from the edges, refusing to live inside boxed-in systems designed to process, optimize, and ultimately kill the raw self. This fight is about becoming more than a founder. It's about becoming a force of nature who refuses to be tamed by traditions, ready to unlearn everything you know, to create rules so new no one else sees them yet. It's about patience, the long game that movers and dreamers can play while the noise chases quick wins. It's about ruthless freedom, your will as your weapon, your reality as yours alone to shape. Look around. The system doesn't want you to find each other. It doesn't want you to unite through your contrast, your difference, your rare fire. It benefits from keeping you isolated in endless loops of competition and survival. But liberation is in connection. The few who dare find each other, who recognize that true power lies not in hordes, but in the synergy of rare individuals intertwined by purpose and trust. To break free, you must stop choosing the wrong enemies. Stop wasting your fire on the surface noise, the convenient scapegoats, the illusions that keep you shackled. Instead, ignite your focus on dismantling the invisible systems inside you that whisper, fit in, play safe, don't burn too bright. Align with only those few who share your hunger for transformation, not comfort. Question your reality every day, because the truth they hand you is a fragile story destined to shatter when faced with your radical becoming. This isn't about easier. This is about owning your life so fiercely it burns through every false promise, every shortcut, every outdated assumption. The world may not have built a place for the exceptional, but that's why you build it yourself. A network, an ecosystem, a movement where the rare find each other, where your misaligned brilliance becomes aligned power. Founders, visionaries, builders, each one is more than a signal, more than a spark. Together, you weave a new kind of network, a new kind of power, not through sameness, but through honoring contrast. Because through individuality you find unity. Through the few, you free the many. So don't fight the enemies someone else chose for you. Burn them down inside yourself. Burn away the illusions they plastered on your mind, and choose new allies, scarce, fierce, transformative. Only then does the fire you carry become a wildfire that changes the world. This is your moment to stop battling shadows and start forging light. To break free not just from systems and markets, but from the invisible prisons of your own making. To transcend the noise and become the rare, the bold, the relentless force rewriting what's possible for all of us. Don't settle for fighting yesterday's battles. Burn for tomorrow's breakthroughs. This is the fight that matters. This is the becoming that can't be stopped. This is the real liberation.